I've been fighting in the streets for 10 years. No one's ever laid a hand on me. Down in 3! Yeah!
How many seconds for you?
Hi everybody, it's Sid from Cool Movie Gram, your source for everything about cool film. Now if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button, check out my other videos, like my content and comment and all the usual stuff. I really appreciate that. Those of you who have already done that, thank you very much. Welcome back to the channel. And yes, we are still discussing more Hong Kong goodness, and today is going to be another 88 films release, which is Legacy of Rage, which is the limited edition kind of deluxe release of theirs. Well, it's kind of a deluxe release just with the slipcase, and of course this is a 1986 film which was directed by Ronnie Yu. It stars Brandon Lee, Michael Wong, Regina Kent, Michael Chan, Meng Hui as well. And without further ado, of course, let's just see what this is all about. The plot of the film, as per the reverse of the cover, Ronnie Yu, the postman fights back, is doing what he does best here, delivering a breathtaking, action-packed, fist-flying tale of vengeance which stars Brandon Lee. Hard-working Brandon Ma Lee is loving life with his girlfriend May, Regina Kent, but his drug-dealing best friend Michael, played by Michael Wong, has sights on May and sets Brandon up for murder. Soon Brandon is on the hunt to save his girl and exact brutal revenge. In this stylish flick which is packed with stunning fight choreography and cool dialogue. This film itself now, this was Brandon Lee's first movie, and this is the only Hong Kong film that he had even done. And according to a lot of the people, including Ronnie Yu at that time, Brandon Lee did not want to do an action film, did not want to become an action star. He wanted to be seen more as an actor. But of course he got cast in this, and in terms of the fight choreography, there isn't really that many fights. I mean, you got cameos from appearances from many other leading kind of well-known names in Hong Kong cinema. I mean, you even get him to see him squaring off with Bolo Young, who of course featured in his father's last film, which was Enter the Dragon. And he kind of comes off as an arrogant triad guy who's trying to kind of muscle in at the club where Brandon's working as a waiter. But then of course you see him kind of get into a little altercation. It could have been, it wasn't really that much, because I could see Brandon just kind of did not want to kind of be someone who's just trying to kind of just ride off the coattails and just kind of imitate his father, because he was something completely different. And but then of course you even got veterans like Ku Feng making an appearance as a prison officer, who kind of eventually, seen as someone who's rather strict, but he does actually kind of have this kind of almost a fatherly kind of just kind of a care towards Brandon. And of course Regina Kent, the late actress, I mean, she had great screen presence in this, and her chemistry with Brandon Lee, I mean, both of them did really well. And Michael Wong, I mean, he's just Michael Wong in every film. It is literally, this guy just plays himself in every movie, whether he's trying to be good Michael or just annoying evil Michael, he is. I mean, I thought he was a very annoying bad guy in this. And Michael Chan's in this, which aka Chan Wai Man, who was of course famously known for being a policeman / even he was part of the 14K triad, with some links to some of the Japanese Yakuza gangs. And of course there was the incident where Michael Chan had actually slapped Brandon Lee, because Brandon Lee refused to kind of imitate his father, and he kind of pissed off Michael Chan. But of course, being that he was Michael Chan, such a dangerous person, in Hong Kong. He couldn't really kind of do much in terms of like, you know, fight back or anything. That would not have worked well out for Lee. But apparently, when you kind of see some of the when you learn about this movie, apparently, even though this film wasn't really done really, with the visual style of the film is quite interesting. I mean, it's it's kind of like early kind of heroic bloodshed days, so there is more heroic bloodshed kind of feel to it. I mean, the shootouts in this film are done pretty well. You know, you got some like really good kind of like car stunts and explosions are done pretty good, and just the final shootout is like pretty much Brandon Lee and Mang Hoi kind of playing like just going absolute full on kind of in Scarface mode. It's more like Scarface meets Commando. It's like, them just kind of like going up to this mansion where Michael Wong's kind of like kidnapped his girlfriend May, but then they're going for the rescue, and he's just them kind of like just turning up with machine guns and just blasting everything away. And of course this includes that infamous scene where which was actually cut out from the UK VHS release when it was released by Imperial Entertainment, where Brandon just chops a guy in the neck and that was out. That was that little scene there was actually censored, but then we've got it released uncut as well by 88 Films, which is great. I think it was actually included in the Eastern Heroes Blu-ray, which was first released for this film, which was a dual format release, which included a Blu-ray and a DVD, which is now long out of print. Overall, this was a fun movie. I mean, I would say after The Crow, I would say this is my second favorite Brandon Lee film. He had a lot of potential. He could have actually done pretty well, and he probably, maybe if he kind of like carried on, maybe making some films in Hong Kong, and if he kind of warmed up towards it, he probably would have been. He would have done a lot better. And considering that this film was a very small budget movie, it did make more than its money back, and it was actually considered to be rather successful. For a small budget film, but of course, maybe Brandon probably would have been able to actually come back, and maybe if you stayed alive after The Crow, probably would have seen more of him in maybe more Hong Kong movies. But unfortunately that didn't happen. But this was actually a good kind of like kind of low budget scuzzy action flick with some interesting cinematography, great kind of visual flair, which Ronnie Yu himself has a great eye for as well. I mean, if you look at films like, for example, of course, even The Postman Fights Back, which has a great kind of like some great cinematography in it and great use of like the location and like just framing of the shots. It's really done really well. And even, of course, his magnum opus, which was The Bride with Bright White Hair, an absolute kind of classic. And even his movie with Jet Li, which was Fearless, again, another great film which had great shots. So that's always been like Ronnie Yu's strength. He's able to have like a great kind of like visual flair, which is why the film was kind of seen as, it kind of has a very cool aesthetic. And, it's like the synthy kind of 80s kind of score was kind of done really well. And even like you got the kind of loud kind of pastel colors and the kind of use of like the costumes that they're wearing is like very 80s. This screams the 80s. And again, Brandon Lee did pretty well. So trying to present like this everyman kind of guy who's just working like different jobs just to make ends meet. But then of course he's happy the fact that he's with the woman that he loves. But of course when his world is turned upside down, you see him kind of just turning into something completely different. He's out for vengeance, and the fact that you see him kind of gradually kind of. Because his former best friend turned out to be a complete dick who's really bitter and petty. But then, it's just, but then, it's almost impossible to not kind of root for his character, which, of course, it's just really easy to hate Michael Wong in this movie. The only film where I actually liked his character that I kind of appreciated was probably Gordon Chan's directed movie Beast Cops, which he actually did like a really good job in movie, because he's just playing like a very kind of black and white character. He doesn't see good is good, bad is bad, just a very kind of straight and narrow kind of character that really suited him. But I just thought in this movie, maybe because he's just such a horrible person in this movie, I just didn't like him. And yeah, but overall, it's a fun movie filled with action, and it's just fast paced, and some interesting performances. It just showed the potential that Brandon Lee did have, but unfortunately, because he had rubbed the wrong way with a lot of like people in Hong Kong. I mean, apparently a lot of the stuntmen, which hated him, apparently they did not like him at that time, because he was only about 19 years old when he made the movie. They were all planning to kind of like just jump him at the premiere of the movie, and so they had to do the premiere of the movie without the star present, and it was a moderate success, considering how low the film was more or less budgeted at, and also the fact that they filmed it really kind of in short time. But yeah, I would say I'm giving this a 4 out of 5, just out of pure enjoyment. That's my rating of this film. Okay, in terms of the this bonus features in this release. Now, of course, you've got the HD 1080p presentation of the film in its original 1.85 to 1 aspect ratio. You got the 2.0 Cantonese mono, and of course the 2.0 English mono, which is the original dub. Newly translated English optional English subtitles. You've got a really interesting audio commentary with both Frank Jeng joined with Ronnie Yu, the director of the movie. That's really kind of like very fun, interesting kind of commentary. The fact that you get to see, Frank Jeng and kind of Ronnie Yu both kind of explaining the movie and everything, and Ronnie Yu's just kind of like explaining, going over his experiences of the movie. Fat Samurai did a Ronnie Yu interview, which is like a snippet of like something that was actually on his YouTube channel, I believe, where he kind of like has a kind of like just a brief chat with Ronnie Yu, kind of going over like Legacy of Rage and working with Brandon, and why he's spending his time with Brandon Lee. And then Hector Martinez presents the world of Brandon Lee, who kind of goes over some of his he's like an absolute super fan of Brandon Lee, who has like, and Bruce Lee, of course, who has like all these kind of like this memorabilia and like different types of releases for Brandon Lee movies. In particular, there's more focus on Legacy of Rage, because this of course was for release of Legacy of Rage. Now, it was quite interesting, and of course you get an archive interview with director Ronnie Yu, which of course again going over the same thing, which is like the experience he had working with Brandon, and their time together on the film, and how their relationship kind of like more or less was. And you got the English opening and closing sequences, which of course was from what we saw pretty much in the UK VHS, which I also think was probably released in America as well eventually. You got the Hong Kong trailer, the English trailer, Tyson trailer, stills gallery. You got the reversible sleeve, with new art by Sean Longmore and original poster art. So of course we're going to be going through that now. So of course you got this amazing art with by Sean Longmore. Did a really good job on his kind of like release art on this release. And okay, and yeah, so you got this, and then you got the original Hong Kong poster, of course. So you can see you got Brandon, then of course a picture of his great late father Bruce Lee in the background. Of course just cashing in on the success of course, like the legacy of his father. And then of course the back of it is pretty much both the same, just as normal, and there's nothing new there. And of course this is the disc. If you can see, that's the disc that was released. And then you have you have this double-sided poster again, which I just love the fact that they're including their posters again. So you got the Sean Longmore Then, of course, the original export release, the poster of the film. And of course, you got some hand-drawn pictures of it. You got Bruce Lee in the background with Brandon Lee there, looking swole. Yeah. Of course, this was produced by. This was a D&B film. Of course, Dixon Poon was, of course, the movie mogul who kind of pretty much made Michelle Yeoh a star. He was actually married to Michelle Yeoh, Dixon Poon was. And of course, you got the writings with David West, and of course, it's a really interesting look at the film. And Ronnie Yu, you got Paul Bramhall doing had a great kind of like piece on this as well. And yeah, it's again a very interesting, insightful booklet. You got a great audio commentary, great additional bonus features, which I think were really interesting, and shows more appreciation for this film. Watching it again, the last time I did see this was many years ago on VHS, and just being able to actually see this again with fresh eyes in a great new restoration, I actually like this movie more than I did when initially seeing it. And I wasn't actually. I thought it was okay, not great. But then when you watch it again, you think, after going through so many Hong Kong movies later, you kind of find a more kind of like just a fondness for this movie. And in terms of like the release, again, just the packaging got a more of a rigid kind of case to it. I would definitely say this is a 5 out of 5 release of the film. I mean, the film itself is a 4. This is a 5. I mean, 88 films have knocked it out the park again. Did a really great release. Let's just hope that the new ones are going to be great as well. So let's just see what they have for us in the future. Right, well, yeah, that was me, and again, just another video for me to do a filler for before I get back to doing Ramadan. So I'll catch you on the next one. This is Sid signing out. Take care.